Financial disclaimer. The information provided in this stream is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional financial or investment advice. We are not licensed financial advisors, and the content presented here is based on our personal opinions and experiences. Investing in stocks and other financial instruments involves risk, including the potential loss of capital. Any investment decisions you make are solely your own responsibility, and you should conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any investment choices. The content we share on this stream may not be accurate, complete, or up to date. Market conditions and financial regulations can change rapidly, and we cannot guarantee the accuracy or reliability of the information presented. We do not endorse or promote any specific stocks, companies, or investment strategies. Any actions you take based on the content of this stream are at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses or damages that may occur as a result. Always remember that past performance is not indicative of future results, and no investment is guaranteed to be profitable. Make informed decisions and consider your risk tolerance before investing any funds. By accessing and using this stream, you acknowledge and agree that we are not responsible for any investment decisions you make as a result of the content presented. You are encouraged to seek advice from qualified financial professionals for personalized guidance. Please invest responsibly and only with money you can afford to lose.
Hey man, just found the next guaranteed multi-bagger.
Hey man, you found another one? What is it this time?
Come check this out.
Okay, next please. How can I help you, young man?
We want to go all in on HTCO. We like the ocean and we like the name High Trend because we love trends.
Well, that's fantastic. A really smart decision, young man. We can put that check and it's gone.
Welcome everybody. Johnny, how you doing?
Yeah, good. Good to be back again. Been a bit of a up and down week, I think, but we were just looking at the Nvidia chart. There's some funny stuff going on, I think.
Well, we were just talking about how there was a bit of a sell-off there at the end of the day, which, I mean, this did come to a pretty high peak last week. But then what we were looking at is this is just the hourly chart and just this last candle here, which I don't know. I mean, were you able to appreciate that as much on? Oh, look at the 5. I mean, the 5 shows you.
Yeah, I think it triggered. Let's check some other semi names. They have the same charts.
Yeah, so, I don't know what triggered that sell-off here, but what was I was gonna say, I'm trying to remember what the one I was watching on Friday. Oh, I'm just logging into my accounts. I can't remember what the heck I traded on Friday. This is terrible. That's what happens when you have kids, guys. You don't remember anything. It's all over.
Yeah. But I'm going through the list now, and some of the strong names in the semiconductor space, they are also up. Didn't affect them as much, you know.
No, it was Cure that I bought, so I don't know. I maybe it was just a different one this week that I saw something dropped at the end of the day, but I thought it was Cure. But I mean, Cure is biotech anyway, so not necessarily correlated.
Yeah.
But let's pull up HTCO. I mean, this is the kind of high ADR stock that we're always into.
Yeah. That's what were you just saying? Like now is good time to use options because. If you calculate here and you consider the ADR number, which was like 86, which is, you know, you don't get that every day.
And what we were saying, guys, is look, if you buy right now and we get back to the peak, that's almost 3,000%. So you turn it into options. Now it's like 100,000%. Boom.
And then you go all in. That's the player.
Yes, not financial advice, guys.
No, it's just a thought.
Yeah,
right.
It is a thought.
Yeah.
You know, I know someone out there buys one option contract on something like this and nails it, and probably makes like $100,000 off $100 or something stupid.
Yeah. And then they are a genius.
Yes, of course they're a genius because they landed that luckily.
Yeah.
Full on genius. Strong
But,
market cap, 21 million, big company.
Yeah. I had it categorized as marine shipping, and
Same.
they had made a name change in 25 to high trends. So bullish.
Yeah. Apparently the shipping industry. Maybe their boats are stuck in the strait.
Yeah, could be.
It's
Let's
poor for
blame it on that.
transportation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have a great week. Finally, my system failed to work, which I guess I should be okay with. So looking at the portfolio, I was down almost 2%, which isn't. I mean, this is like a very bad week for me actually. And if I look at the context of everything, so being down 2%, I've been there a million times, and before it didn't even really used to bother me. Where just because things have been going well, I guess it bothered me this last week, but. I don't think I did anything or anything really changed. I think it was just kind of bound to happen, just the way I've been trading. So,
If you
I
can
don't
keep
know.
that ratio up, you will be fine for the year.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is most of the weeks I gained anywhere from 1 to 2%, and that was over. Like I think, like I said, I believe this was week 12 or 13 since I've been doing specifically this kind of like scalping type style almost.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd call it scalping. And like I said, I'm always tracking everything. And there's an adjustment that I saw that if I made, now granted this is all through backtracking, it was much more profitable to do this. So, not that this wasn't profitable. So it's just in the context. So I don't know. I'm going to probably watch that a little bit longer just to see if that trend continues to hold up. If it does, I may switch over exactly what I'm doing a little bit. But that's why it's like I just find it super helpful because I have pretty set rules now on what I'm doing, and I just think tracking your trades. I know everyone says to do it, but the other thing I found with tracking trades is like I'll track a bunch of different metrics. Let's say like on all kinds of things when I'm selling, volumes, all whatever, blah blah blah, and then after doing it for like a month or two. I'll start to be like, you know what? I don't really think this measurement's helping me at all. Like this, I don't see any correlation. This is kind of useless, and I'll just cut it out. And then other ones will come in and they'll kind of replace it, and it keeps like kind of like fine tuning exactly what I'm looking at. And slowly you start to watch these like patterns appear where you're like, oh, you know what? This is actually like some kind of correlation. There's some kind of edge I can see by doing this. And then the real question just is, how long does it last for? Are you being true? Like, really be accurate when you're measuring something. Like there's times where like something falls on, if I do this, like I should sell here. And let's say I was going to sell out when it hit like a 10-minute moving average or something like that. Sometimes like you'll watch it where it dips below the 10-minute moving average, and there's a chance I didn't even notice it because it comes right back up. But when I'm measuring it, I have to assume at that exact moment I saw it and I sold, because you can't assume which way it's going to go. So, it's taught me that when you're measuring these things, just assume worst case scenario, because if it doesn't happen and it works in your benefit, and you didn't sell there and you ended up, catching the stock as it rises back up and you didn't get stopped right out, that's great because it's going to improve what your numbers actually look from when you measured. But assume always the worst when you're measuring things, because you want to know like what's the worst case scenario in this if I'm doing this. So that's some things like I've been working on. I don't know if you've had anything similar, Johnny, in the way you track your trades.
For sure, but I'm thinking like this is the secret. These things are nuances that we are talking about and that we have talked about that these top traders possess just because they have gone through that process
Right.
for years, and they know then down to the fingertips what their edge is and where it lays. And that's how they can, you see one trader, they care about this, and another trader cares about something completely different, and they are both successful. And that's that. And when we talk about it, like when Kulamagi and them talk about it on the stream, it sounds simple, and he even say it is simple, but it's not easy, and that's where these things come into play, I think. And it only comes with experience and a lot of hard work. And tracking your own trades, in my opinion, and how I have found it, it is a bit of a hassle during the session, because I note down the metrics and everything that I look for exactly as soon as I can after I have put the order in, and it has triggered, because I measure also like distance from the 50-week simple moving average and stuff like that, like how many times the ATR from the 50-day moving average on the daily time frame, but also on the weekly time frame. So I track a lot of things. I track the average volume, dollar volume. I track the market cap, the day in the base, and then I track a little bit of a different things if it's a pullback buy or a EP or a breakout buy. So I also try to categorize everything. And it is a bit of a headache to do in a live session where you are already monitoring 100 million things. You also need to document down things as you go. But I try to be as accurate as I can, just so I can get accurate numbers when after a while I analyze the results, So, and then, like you said, I have tracked things that I don't track anymore. I've added things because I'm curious to see if there's some edge to some metric or some line, whatever, and I'm tracking probably too many things right now, but I just have stuck with it, and so far I don't want to change anything right now in terms of what I document, but I will in the future. And for example, I just changed from using SMAs on my charts to EMAs, but I don't want to mess up my sheet because I've documented like more than 100 trades already. So I just treat in my sheet now the same principle. Is it over the 10-day EMA or not?
Yeah.
Instead of the SMA, there are some differences, of course, but I don't think they matter so much in the long run in terms of the principles. But it's definitely something I've given a lot of thought if I have to go back in the sheet and change and all that stuff, So I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, no, there's a few. I get what you're saying, because there's a few things I measure and I've changed something, and then I'm not going to go back and get rid of all my data from before, because I kind of like that I have it from them and that time period. I mean, I can always go back and remeasure stuff. It's stock charts allows you to pick any date and do anything you want. But with that being said, too, I feel like if I'm going to do like a major change in everything, too, I'll probably just wait till the next year starts. And then, when I remake my sheet for that year, that's where I'll do like big adjustments and try and fine tune and be like, I'd always wish it was done like this. I'll probably start that this year. Like one thing I know in like my market strength one, for the S&P and the NASDAQ, I always just say whether it's up or down. I wanted to going forward, start putting the percent it's up and down, as opposed to just saying it's up or down, just to kind of give a little more context on, was it a really strong up, because sometimes it's up like, 0.05%. So it's like, that's barely an up day. So it's really more neutral, but it would be helpful to know that. So that's one thing I know I want to update, for starting next year. But yeah, there's, and it's funny too, because it just kind of keeps your brain like thinking about, each trade, and there's all these little thoughts you have in your head when you're doing trading or investing. Like, if I had done this, how would things have worked out? And I think it's really important to be able to go through and actually measure that out and say, like, I had this inkling that this was a good idea. Now, after measuring it, I'm an idiot. That was a horrible idea. Don't ever do that.
Yeah. It helps you over time to create your rules.
Right.
And then in the end also I've seen experienced traders who have doubled their account every year for 100 years already, you know, and they say they are still talking about, if I had just followed my rules, I would have been 10 times more profitable.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
So
it's true because like
even
it's the same thing with like my stop loss. Like I don't put the stop loss in if I'm able to watch. And the reason I don't is because everyone will tell you there's a good way to get sniped by putting your stop loss in. If someone's going to build a big purchase order, their algorithm is already saying what's the lowest price we can get like the most bang for your buck for. That's definitely how the algorithms are programmed. So if they're willing to go down to like, let's say a stock at like $4 and your stop price is at like $3.95, it's going to buy down to $3.95 on purpose because it realizes it can just sneak some extra shares by, you know, not doing much. So if I don't have to put it in, I won't, which of course then leads to the mental fortitude that if my stop loss is at $3.95 and it hits $3.95, you know, it's tough in your mind to know that there's a really good potential that's a bottom, especially the way I do it. So it kind of sucks because it's like, should I hold just a little bit longer? And almost every time I should just sell right at that stop loss. And I'll end up losing a few extra cents because I hesitate or something stupid. You know what I mean? Like you just, it's so hard sometimes to just be like, just do it. And then there's other days I'm really good. I don't even think about it for whatever reason. I just click it and I'm out and it's not even a big deal. Like, you know, and a lot of times I sell it and I'm like, oh, it looks like it's right below where I wanted to stop. And it actually is above. I actually got some money back. So it's not perfect. And you got to think these things are moving so fast. Even when you're clicking, like there's not much you can do to really control it. But there's just that stupid mental thing where you're like, well, what if it bounces right back? And you always think it right when you're about to sell, you know?
And because you deal with this in live time, real time, you know, and not only that, but you drag with you your entire history,
Right.
your short-term history, long-term history into the trade. Like,
Right.
did you mess up the last one? Then your mind just works a little bit like, I want this to work, and then you bend the rules a little bit, and that's what happens, and that's why these experienced traders also happen. This is normal, and it is not so easy to not do these things, even if you have very high experience. I think the book that comes out now, Market Wizard book with Kulamagi, a big part of his chapter will be that he, after making 100 million, he still overtraded.
Yeah.
I think that was the issue, right? So
yeah, I don't know. I didn't read it. I did pre-order it, but I wanted the version on my phone, the Kindle.
Yeah.
So I don't think you get the preview chapter or whatever if you do it that way.
Okay. But I look forward to read that properly myself. But I think that's what he talked about there, and that just shows, like, you know, these things are probably things you will struggle with the entire period that you do this, and you can talk about how immune you are to putting your emotions into to disrupt your system and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's very hard to control, I think, in all the aspects of just one trade. what goes into one trade? It's a lot, you know.
No, I agree. It sounds easy on paper to do everything, but emotions and money are always attached, which makes it, you know, second guess things. And
right now with you and me, we have jobs next to this, and just the stress that also adds on. I'm not sitting in a calm, calm and relaxed environment while I do this.
Yeah, sure.
There's a lot of things going on.
Right.
So yeah. By the way, Dane, Kevin is here again, saying good morning from Lakeland, Florida. Good morning, Kevin. Good to see you in once again in the chat here. Very happy to see you come back. Come with some questions or whatever. I don't know your experience or anything, Kevin, but we are open to answer everything, and maybe you're much more experienced than us, even. So if you can contribute something to the conversation in terms of what we are saying and stuff, just feel free to throw it in here.
Yeah. I can't remember what I was gonna say now, but yeah, you know, and it's one of those things. It's just dumb too, because you know, almost anytime I do the measurements, you would notice that if you don't stop out almost right away, it's gonna get worse. Like
Yeah,
usually the
that
way
is
that works.
usually, yeah. I have a good example actually. Then this week I told you on WhatsApp, but I sold out of the the day before earnings, and my plan was initially to trim the position up until earnings, and I have a good room already. I think I was up 30%. Dell has been a fantastic trade for me. And my initial plan was to hold it through earnings to see, because I had a good feeling in terms of what I read on news that came out and just the momentum it had, the volume that came in. So I had trimmed down the position properly. So it wasn't a big position I had left. I had a very small position. And I had then taken off most of the profits already. But my plan was to hold through it based on everything I just said. And then I started to think like, why are you doing this? Because you just lost, I just lost 13% in 2 weeks or whatever it was. I gave back all my profits, and I was down 5% for a short time earlier, like 2 weeks ago. I don't know, I don't remember the time frame here, but and then just in 1.5 weeks or whatever it is now, I'm back to 10% up. And my lesson from giving back those 13% that I had was I didn't take off the profits when I had them. I let them run, and I hit my stop. And even sometimes I even, like you just said, I even lowered the stop when I should have just sold the position. And I gave everything back. And on top of that, my new entries, they didn't work because I was trading in while that pullback was going on. So I got stopped out on heaps of positions. So now that mindset came into my head, and I was like, what are you doing? Didn't you learn a lesson? You should take off the profit when you have them, because you don't know what Dell is going to do in the earnings. And that is the rule. At
Right.
this stage, when I'm not up so much, you secure the profit and you don't gamble like this. And then in hindsight, a stupid decision, because it was up 30%. But I did follow the rules, and I'm actually proud of it. Even though I am not happy about the decision, I stuck with the rules, and maybe next time that will save me. I think in the long run that will save me. And also, I was also thinking ahead of earnings, there was so many positive news being released. The stock was extended on the metric that I'm using, and I was thinking maybe this is one of the times where you should sell the news, because I think there will be some profit taking when the earnings come. And I still do think that will come now, because now it's very extended. But yeah, I could have gained another 30% on the small position that I had left in one day, which was I don't know if I will want to call it a mistake. It was a bad decision, but I followed the rules.
Yeah, then I don't think it's a bad decision, to be honest. Like, you know, it's so easy to see this and be like, you know, why did you take it off before that, you know, earnings? But this could have also ended up down here. You know, it's you have to just. That's what I'm saying, just to assume kind of worst case scenario. Now, I will say, I mean, this is a beautiful setup for this chart. In case you guys don't see what I'm saying, I'm saying this section here is a really perfect setup for getting into this. And then it follows the trend perfectly.
Yeah.
Is this where you got in?
Let me check here. I got in on the 20 of May.
Even better. Yeah. I mean, that's a you couldn't get a more perfect entry into that.
Yeah. So I got a 30% on it running up to earnings, which it's one of the best trades I've had for 2026.
And so how did you trim this?
I trimmed it. I trimmed on that big one on 22nd.
Yeah.
and then I trimmed on 27, and then I trimmed the last one on 28, where I sold the entire position.
Gotcha. On the 20.
So I
So how?
basically trimmed on op days every time, and I followed the plan, which was to sell out. I was aware of the earnings date when I got in, so I knew I had a short time to be in this one.
If you don't mind me asking, how much are you trimming each time?
The first I trimmed 20%, I think it was.
Okay.
Then after that
Just
big
curious.
day, I took a little bit off, so I had like 50% left. And then I took half of that on the day before, and then I sold everything in the end.
Gotcha.
That's how I did it on this one. And this one is on the more expensive side, so initially I didn't have so many shares to trim even, you know.
Gotcha.
But yeah, in terms of percentage, that's how I did it. And no, like I said, I think, let me check here so I give you the accurate numbers. But Dell is of the trades I've been closing, it's my 6th best for the year.
Nice.
It gave me 27.37% in just those short number of days.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, this is a perfect setup. And it's funny too, because like really, I mean, if you just wait for these setups, they really look good. There's another one, Xerox, which I haven't been in just because it's been just outside of my range of looking at. And then I look at this chart and I'm like, this was such a beautiful chart. Like,
Oh yeah,
I mean,
I tried it.
just such a perfect setup. And then it worked perfect and broke through the 200 and then held up. And I typically have not been looking at stuff under 200, which this kept popping up on all my screens, but I just been really hesitant to do it. And then I look at it on, sometime last week and I was like, oh my God, I was like, this was a perfect setup.
Yeah, I tried it on the 14 on a pullback move because it found support on the 200-day, 150 EMA plus the anchored VWAP from one of the bars that I put it on. But I did get stopped out the next day on it. So, and I would have been stopped out before the proper breakout. But I agree with you, that chart looks really good.
Yeah, I mean, it just perfectly is riding the 10. And even the day before it finally breaks, it tapped the 20. I mean, it's like literally textbook right there.
Yeah, and you know, the company has a name. You know that Xerox. This was the one that what's his name? Carl Icahn was in for a long time, right?
Yeah. And yeah, I'm not saying anything about the company. I'm just saying in terms of a trading chart.
Yeah.
Besides, it's below the 200, which I know some people are. But you know, only reason that this still pops up on my radar is because even though it's below the 200, it was approaching it first off and had even crossed it. But also, it already had one big move and pullback, and then another big move. You know, and then it starts to set up. If I see enough of like these kind of moves, like, you know, this is already going into a third move here. So you know, once it's got
the only thing.
Yeah, I mean, besides it's below the 200, that's the only negative thing about this. So if you want to take a point off for that or whatever. But otherwise, I was just, and also, look at the volume on, what is this, the 30th?
Yeah, that was on earnings where they missed on the EPS metric.
No, apparently no one cared.
There must have been some guidance or some news.
Obviously something else went on because and like I said, I didn't really look it up. I just was looking at the chart. So you know, the fundamental guys can hate me for not looking at the narrative, but either
I guess
way,
you can, like you said, because it has been below the 200-day or whatever you are using there. Like you said, the only negative point is I guess some people will call this a lagger, but still.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's the strongest one in the group, but
yeah, but if you traded the breakout here, you are still profitable, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if you had gotten in early here, I mean,
yeah,
you're up 25% in a week.
Yeah, which is then you probably sell.
I mean, that's pretty ideal.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, there's still a lot of good looking charts. This market is a bit crazy, and it just, the week started, or like last week, and it started to be rumors about a deal, a concrete deal with the USA and Iran, right?
Right.
We haven't really gotten it, but just news about it. So I don't know, the market, what has the market priced in at this point,
Yeah, I mean, I'm just, if you go to, what do you call it? Where's commodities on here? I'm not used to looking at this. I usually look at this on my phone. I mean, both Brent and crude are down quite a bit. 92 and 87. These things were just over 100. So
Yeah. I did spot a little bit of a interesting. Let me see. No, it's completely ruined now. But that bar, the oil futures on 26th of May. I thought that was a little bit of a interesting candle, but then it kept just going down from that. So I discounted it because it looked like it could have some potential pullbacks there. But it kept going down and broke some of the other moving averages, So right now, it doesn't look so good for all the oil price.
yeah, and I would think just because the markets have ran so ridiculously hot for a while now, that we'd be much more due for a bigger pullback. But then I'm like looking at the future here. We have some of the biggest IPOs possibly coming up. 2 major AI companies as well as SpaceX. So those are going to be 3 massive IPOs, no matter how you think of it, at least in terms of how much volume and how much it's drawing into the markets. It's going to be a big move. And then on top of it, you have possibly the Iran deal going through, which means oil prices will finally start to plummet.
Then if you look at them, look at Microsoft, for example. Look at some of these big names.
Oh, I know. Trust me.
They don't seem to
huge
care.
move.
Like there's nothing bearish about this.
Yeah, it's and I've seen quite a few traders like comment on this that like, even though the euphoria part feels real right now because it's just everyone's buying and it's just kind of like, there's so much action going on, and in the back set of, the problem is people look at, markets and they assume it's going to correlate with the economy, which in the long run it probably will, because just the wealth gap that's been increasing so much, the amount of inflation we've been dealing with across the world essentially, especially with oil being such a major impact on inflation. You would think that in that backdrop, it would make it look like the markets are going to tank because that's all just bearish. Like there's starting to be a lot of credit reports saying that people are starting to, be delinquent on their payments and things like that. And that all is probably true in the background. But at the same time, the markets are it's really different. Where the money is in the markets, it's a lot of it's about the future potential of things. And I think when you put that all into context, you see the amount of money coming back into these names right now. It might not be long and we're shooting back towards these highs.
Yeah, how can you discount that possibility? Look at a boring stock like IBM.
This is a 10% move. 9% move, whatever you want to call it, but in a very short amount of time for such a huge market cap. 3.3 trillion.
Pull up IBM also, then.
Yeah, IBM's another one.
It's the bank, right? And then the news was connected to something Trump said about some quantum funding or something.
Well, IBM's most likely going to be the leader in this, but
look at that move for this company. Oracle is another one, clear breakout on Oracle.
It is okay. Can't remember if I need the ticker or not. Yeah, actually, all of these are the same thing. All of these, and honestly, the Trump trade is real. Trump said to buy Dell on what day? What day was it? It was like somewhere around here. Trump said to buy Dell. So I I honestly don't necessarily think he's doing it maliciously. I just don't think he even thinks about things like that. Like where most people are super hesitant to be in a position of power and mention something about the markets. Trump doesn't give a shit. Like he just doesn't care. He'll tell you something's going up. He'll tell you something's going down. And that's just him being honest. It's not that he's trying. I don't think he's trying to manipulate the markets. I mean, he's already making a lot of money in the background. I'm not saying what he's. I'm not. I don't think anybody in the government should be able to invest. I mean, not trade individual stocks per se. But
didn't they have that Nancy Pelosi tracker or something?
Yeah. All the politicians. I mean, everyone in Congress does it, so it's not really a big deal. But I mean, it's not a big deal in the fact that like they all do it. But these people have direct access to information. So when if you have someone like the president saying I'm buying this right now,
just copy.
Not a bad idea to follow. I mean, it's no different than people. If you had strictly followed, I can't remember what the return was, but with Warren Buffett's, if you had simply bought every time his quarterly report came out saying what they owed, it was like if Warren Buffett, let's say Warren Buffett made 100%, I think if you had followed him on that, you still made like 90% of the returns he had. So you could have literally just copied Warren Buffett for the past 30, 40 years, and you would literally be, a billionaire, essentially, because of the way he compounds. So I'm not saying to shamelessly trade people, but
it works.
It does work in the right context. If you're able to follow the right people, and there's really two winners in the stock markets, and that's people who really understand a category in it and take advantage of that edge, or it's people with insider information. That's it.
Yeah.
I
noticed something interesting. I think potentially, if you pull up the gold chart, Dane, the last 2 days, Thursday and Friday, I think is something about to happen here. Maybe it's something I'm going to monitor a little bit at least, because it did finish above a few of the key moving averages here. And if it continues up, I'm assuming you will see some gold names and related metals in your scans. And from before, we are tracking HYMC a little bit, right?
Yeah, that was on my list. It's no longer right
With
now,
a
but I mean, this is
long
a great
this base
chart.
looks fantastic, right?
Yeah, gold's just kind of been hovering. I think it pulled back fairly. Just because it had
Can you change to the weekly? Looks good, right?
No, it does. I mean, it's holding up nicely. It's kind of riding the 20 week, but I mean, we'll see. It has dipped below it, so it's not super strong. But with the volume drying up and everything, this is kind of the move you would expect right before it possibly moves again.
Yeah, so something to keep an eye on if the gold chart starts to look a little bit better. I think naturally in your scans you will see more, metal names.
What do you think about Bitcoin here? I kind of agree with what we were saying last week that it still kind of looks bearish to me.
I agree. That was the next one I was going to after gold, but I did notice something just before the stream, Dane, and that is a couple of the altcoins are starting to move a little bit different. I don't know what your ticker with Binance coin is, but if you manage to find that one.
What is it?
Binance, B-I-N, no, A.
B-I-N-A,
N.
Binance.
Yeah.
No, I don't see. I don't know.
No.
Let me just put a $ in here. Binance USD.
Yeah, something.
I don't know. I don't know if it has it in here, but now you're just making me look like what was Ethereum doing? Similar.
Yeah. But those have had some stronger moves at least. But the rest they move just like the Bitcoin
I was gonna
chart.
say the whole thing looks terrible to me.
Yeah,
which
looks terrible. And also a little bit of a change in volume profile for in the negative direction this past week, I think.
Yeah, I just don't see its recovery doing much.
No.
There's got to be some kind of narrative change. I know some people are banking on, Trump saying that we're the crypto capital of the world and blah blah blah, and I think he's going to say that no matter what to try and drive the markets or whatever. He's always trying to drive markets. It's that's one of his economic goals is to keep making things sound rosy. But with Bitcoin, there's just no interest right now, it seems. Which, to be fair, there's so many other places to be putting your money right now. Why you'd be going heavy into Bitcoin right here, I have no idea.
I just pulled up MicroStrategy today, which looks a little bit more positive in the last 2 days. I tried to read a little the news here, but still has a way to go before I will find it interesting. But it seems maybe a little bit of a reversal.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but at the same time too, like I just don't see anything here. I mean, don't get me wrong, it has had a decent, it has had a move up. But this is kind of what I was saying about XRX, is that even though it's had this first move up, it's also pulled back down pretty heavily. I don't know if I like that much of a dip where it broke through everything. And almost too, if it's going to be under the 200 MA, I would have liked to see this move and then, pull back. And I mean, you could almost call this a pullback here. And if it had broken out from this day, what is this? If it had moved higher from May 15th, I would argue the exact opposite. But instead, it broke down from May 15th, which means to me, this whole thing is going to be a bunch of bag holders.
Together with the Bitcoin chart, right? So, no, I completely agree. And what sucks about it, Dane, is that, I got a good return on MicroStrategy earlier this year. So I decided to buy a Michael Saylor t-shirt.
No, you can still rock it.
So now I have a Michael Saylor t-shirt that I can't use. I need to come into MicroStrategy again.
Well, all you can do, just put this on the back. Just get this, invert the old price. Just do this. Throw this on the back of the t-shirt.
True.
Problem solved. Now it looks great.
I will try to think about something creative.
Just remember, guys, anytime you don't like the chart, just hit that flip button.
Yeah,
Problem solved.
flip it. You will be so much happier.
It just looks great.
A little bit of additional information on that strategy. It only works on the long side.
What, flipping
Don't
the chart?
flip. Yeah, well, you can flip. To flip a bearish-looking chart only works if you want to be long.
True.
Yeah. So don't do it the opposite.
Same thing with Dell. You want to be short this thing?
Just flip it.
Flip it. And now you can go short.
That's how we live our lives.
Yeah, sometimes it really is eye-opening when you flip a chart, though. Just to it shows you how drastic the move is, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah.
Like if you saw this as a like something like you were gonna short, you would be like, "This is a great chart to short." You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and also in terms of
dumb,
extension. But also in terms of extension, right? If you flip it,
yeah,
that is a big bottom, right? Yeah, there you go.
Perfect.
What a recovery.
But yeah, other than that, like I said, I've just been tweaking the strategy a lot this week. I've been following one other way of doing things, and like I said, it does have a higher return, so there's a chance I switch up a little bit of what I'm doing to the higher return way.
Yeah.
But in my mind, it seems slightly more risky, as in like when markets are doing well, it might outperform as opposed to when markets are doing bad, as opposed to the quicker trading style
Yeah.
So I don't know. Well, we'll see. I'll keep measuring it. I don't want to do anything drastic just yet because, like I said, everything's been going okay besides this last week. And I will say, I mean, you know, the really annoying thing is I didn't start really tracking all these trades until April 9th was the first day that I had in my list where I have all my information for. So the annoying thing is I started doing this somewhere in here.
Yeah, and did well.
And did really well through this period. But the problem is that I don't have the numbers for these. So I don't know how the strategies and everything perform in this down period. Just because, which, you know what? I say that, but I can go back and look at that's what I need to do, actually. I'm glad I just pointed that out to myself. I'm going to go back and look at my trades because I can just look up what I bought. And I can't look at what other things were doing because I like to always look at a few trades each day. I don't like to look at just the one I bought. I like to look at like what, because usually, like I said, there's always 2 or 3 stocks that are, what do you call it? I'm trying to think of the word. Like that would kind of meet my criteria. So, you know, and I just usually pick the one that looks best to me or has something going on narrative wise or whatever. But I need to go back. I need to go back as far as I can and make sure I get these numbers because that'll be super helpful to me.
Yeah, and you should probably split it up in like sideways, bearish, and bullish market to see if there's something you have to change in those environments. But also, any bear market, sideways market, and bull market, they are also different to each other, you know. So,
I was thinking too. So, like, if I have one way of trading and it's a bearish market and it works well in the bearish market, if we start to get into one of these downtrends where we break through some moving averages, maybe what that tells me is when I'm trading, switch immediately over to that style because it's a more secure style in that environment. And then if it's in this, you know, ridiculous uptrend, like what are we from the bottom right now? 30%? That's right. Holy shit. That is nuts.
In a month and a half.
Yeah. I knew it was high, but I guess that just really puts it in context of how much we moved. But yeah, so then, you know, in that environment, maybe the other way, like I said, when I measured it during this last, like, you know, since April 9th, which I know it's not that long of a time period, but it's also been long enough too that, like, statistically, I usually use statistics, like, you know, and I'm not a genius. I talk to AI and whatnot. I'm just like, hey, you know, over this time period, this has been this, and, you know, and it's like, you know, the odds of this happening just based on statistics are this, and it's like essentially 0 that I haven't found an edge is what you would call it, at least in what I'm doing. So, but it always does say, like, you know, you need years of data are obviously better than months. You know, it's not the same. So it has to be able to be replicated across multiple markets. And the only thing I will say is this was such a bearish time period. It gave me a lot of hope because I was like, you know, everybody was saying that what I'm doing shouldn't be working during this time period. So
no, that is true. And if you look at my equity curve in that time period, it's just flat because I went into cash mode.
Yeah.
While you were still outperforming big time in that period. And also you were testing a lot.
Yeah, and
because you just had started in February, March, right?
Yeah, somewhere in there is where I got the idea to switch over to just, instead of trying to capture these bigger moves of like, let's just focus on, and it was just from one of Q's quotes. He just said, you know, quit trying to, when you have a smaller account, quit trying to focus on, you know, hitting it out of the park. Just start getting some wins. And I was like, honestly, you know, let's just go for that for a while and see how it works. And you know, in this down phase, I don't remember what I made, but it was decent. I think it was, you know, 5 or 6%, which you would think in here should be a real negative time period.
Yeah, or you would think that you were shorting, right?
Yeah, yes, and during this time too, also, it wasn't like my ideas were really fleshed out at all. So like I was making dumb mistakes. Like I would do something and it would backfire quickly. So there was a lot of mistakes made in this time period too. But that helped me to lead towards, well, if I had just done this or done this, then I would be even more profitable during that section. So
Yeah. Well, I'm still in 3 names now. I had a very busy week at work. I've been working long hours and in terms of what I usually do, and I have not been able to be home at the opening, which is when I usually take most of my trades. So I kind of just later in the day trimmed some positions and just let it run for a little bit and raised my stops when the market is closed. Which has seen me, like I told you, I sold out of Dell and I got stopped on a couple of other names. I don't even remember the names now. I think I tried one pullback buy this week, which was VIAV, which I was kind of glad I got
What was it,
stopped
V?
out on the day. Huh?
What was it? What was the ticker?
IAV.
Oh, V.
Yeah, well, I tried it on a pullback buy on Wednesday, and I just mistimed it. On that day, it actually worked pretty well, just if I had entered 1 hour later. But that's how it is with these pullback buys.
Right.
But if you look at the next day, I would have been stopped out anyways, a big time. So I was actually happy that happened in hindsight. But I still monitor this one because it could potentially build a base here and have a proper breakout eventually. So it's still an interesting name to me.
No, I mean the chart's still working well, and to be
Yeah.
honest, it does look like it's starting to turn, which it's done that once, maybe twice in this entire move, and then pushed right back off of it. So if anything, if you can get close to one of these, like this 100 moving average here, or is that 50? That's the 50. If you can get close to a buy on the 50, if you're talking pullbacks, you could see a pretty good return on something like that.
Yeah. So maybe Friday you could have been a good pullback buy if you tried there, but
I mean, from here to back to the high is 30%. So
yeah, exactly. And it also looks like if you go back to April 30, that was the day after earnings, a big jump up, and then it pulled back a little bit, but also on heavy volume. It looks like a little bit of a statement, and then you get maybe a natural sideways move for a while here,
yeah.
It's only healthy.
Well, and the other thing too is, so you had 21 million shares move on that day. And then, I mean, you do have this huge, bigger sell day at 15 million, but that still means there's potential for a few million shares that are, bag holders that are deciding if they want to, wait it out or not. So that's what you're essentially waiting for, is that supplies to kind of deteriorate before, if their buying continues. Which I didn't see. I don't know their earnings. Like, if you're trying to decide if this is going to continue higher, I think that's an important factor to look at is, what is their future potential?
Historically, they've beaten earnings. Let me just check my table. Like everything just points green in terms of earnings and revenue.
Right. And,
but I don't know the news. I don't know the guidance. I don't know the plan for this company at all. So, but yeah, I have it on the list still. I think it looks good potentially after a while here.
Yeah, and when you see a chart that's in this kind of uptrend, the fundamental guys, they're going to see this PE and this EPS and be like, nope. But you're also discounting the fact that if it's in this mode and this many people are investing and this is how the stock's trending, obviously there's something underlying in the business. So you have to go a little bit deeper than that. And I think one thing, if I went back to focusing more on the fundamentals, which if I had the time, I would love to go through each one of these things and really, look things up, because I know it would improve my strategy overall, because fundamental moves actually drive markets. I know people don't always believe that, but even for growth, it's still the idea of what the fundamentals will be in the future.
And this one, if you got in on this one, this was one of the ones that I considered maybe to trail with the 20-day EMA, because I see multiple times it reverse when it hits that, and then if you can catch that move and survive not getting stopped out on the 20-day here, it could potentially be worth the gamble. Just a thought. I'm not saying that I would have done it, because brings me back to why I sold Dell and all that stuff. I need to take the profits right now, but just a thought. Yeah.
See, if I was looking at this, I might even put it to the 50.
Yeah.
It only touched the 50
One
once
time,
on this
maybe.
entire move up.
And after it did it, it's up today 181%.
Yeah.
If you go to today's price.
Yeah.
So no, yeah, it is a good one, and that's actually one of the things I have in my sheet. I haven't been able to fill it out as I want, but I have also tracked if you use the 10-day, the 20-day, or the 50-day for your trailing stop loss.
Right.
In terms of profitability. But yeah, that was one I tried and got stopped on. So I am still in ARM, which I think is a fantastic stock. I think it's definitely one of the leaders in this bull market. It's actually my best trade for 2026 already before I entered it again, and now it's my best again. So it's on my first and second position in terms of performance. And I'm very happy with my entry. I took it on a pullback buy, Dane, not a breakout. I took it 18 of May.
Well, and that's the thing with pullbacks is they're harder to land, but man, they work if they do.
Yeah, and I took it. I think I just checked it. 204.38. I think was my entry.
Now,
So,
I've always, when I look back at doing pullbacks, if you can land a pullback on one of the moving averages, especially like the 20 or 50, just because they tend to be deeper pullbacks, and a lot of times they reach the 20 and then they really violently push off it if it's a good, strong stock. If it doesn't violently push off the 20, it's probably not going to work. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
This is one thing that you and I have talked about too. If I'm looking to get in here, like let's say you drawn a line somewhere in here, and this is where you figured, like right here at almost like the 10 on this candle on the 19th. If this is where you're thinking, I want to get in somewhere in here. If your stop loss is locked at 2%, what's the difference if you get in here at 2% or you get in here and your stop loss is 2%? Nothing. Just you got a better entrance on this one. Now your hit rate's probably going to go possibly down on this, so you have to take that into account.
You can survive. You can survive with a lower hit rate if you do that strategy.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. So like you just need to go back and measure like how good are you at calling those? Like if the hit rate doesn't really change all that much, like if it's 10% lower, you're going to outperform doing that.
Yeah.
If it's, 50% lower, then, it's probably not going to work. But just food for thought.
If it's lock or not, like the day after I took it, the volume started to come in properly again,
Mm-hmm.
And I have my chart, so it notify me if there's like some rules on the volume compared to a certain time period. There's some dots showing up above the bars. So it did that on the first time I entered it. Also straight after I entered, those dots started to come in. It just means that it's institutions coming in with big money,
Right.
And then this chart also just starts to move sideways, and you could also buy this at a breakdown on the 19, I think, or even the day after 20.
Yeah, I mean, any of these days it works.
Yeah, and it still has performed well for you. So, but I've trimmed this position, and now I'm trailing with the 10-day EM, or I'm using the 9 EMA. So, and right now it's, it just doesn't stop to go up, this one.
No, it looks good.
So, yeah. Another one I actually really like also is AFRM, that I'm still in. I think this looked good because it came out of this very negative downtrend, and it just broke up above all the key moving averages and then started to move sideways.
Yeah, no, and I just like once again, I mean, look how nicely this is riding the 20, and it's kind of riding the 10 in a way, but the 20, it dips below, and every time it just gets bought up.
Yeah. And this was also a pullback buy on the, let me check, on the 20th of May. I got in at 64.38. So a pullback to, once again, the 20 EMA. And then I almost got stopped on the next 2 following days, but I survived it, and now I'm good, you know. I have trimmed the position, and I'm also trailing this one. And the volume starts to come in now. I think this can go much higher because it's not near extended or anything like that.
Right.
I think it looks good. I hope it will continue and take out maybe the high on 12th of January.
Yeah, no, I mean, it does look good. And,
Yeah.
even as it moves up here, it doesn't really pull back much. I'm just
No, it hasn't.
2% from opens and things like that. I mean, it just seems to rocket higher. This one looks great.
If you look at the weekly also, to me, it looks a little bit like just the start of a move.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I would argue it's going to go higher from here.
Yeah. And the last one I'm still in is the MARA, M-A-R-A, which is like crypto related.
Yeah, and it's funny too because we see all these digital asset things for finance, and I think the reason why this is bullish versus Bitcoin is because this is almost a smart way to play Bitcoin right now, because the actual markets in terms of Bitcoin's movement and in cryptos in general are not strong, but the idea that some of these digital banks could become completely legitimized by like the US government and whatnot, that's huge potential, because all of a sudden all these like just straight up crypto type banks, which I don't know how much this is, I'm not saying that's exactly what this is, but the potential for that to all of a sudden become a real business, in more standardized crypto, I think in the long run you would see crypto start to become profitable, or once again start moving in the right way, become bullish, if these all worked out. But this is where you're going to see it work first, is in these financial institutions that are dealing with the digital currencies.
And I see the news here now. You get these types of news that are very trendy right now, and that's also a factor. It says here, Marathon Digital bets its Bitcoin mining power assets can fuel AI data center growth, which is like, that's what are driving the market right now,
Mm-hmm.
So this was a little bit of a different. It was not pullback. It was kind of like a breakout, but a little bit different. I saw the pullback on 19th of May. I entered it on the 20th, like the day after. It jumped up above the 9 EMA plus the anchored VWAP from 11 of May.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of, when it let me check my entry, it was 1288. So I think I tried to take it when it kind of was on the same level that Friday 15, that negative bar. When it came up on that level, I wanted to get in to see if I could make the position stick. And I was lucky, and I have also trimmed this position, and now I'm trailing it with the same strategy as the other two.
Yeah, nice.
So those are my current position, and that's kind of been my week. I've just let them go because I haven't been able to do so much.
Well, overall, though, I mean, that's a pretty positive week.
Oh yeah, this has been a great week for me again, and like I said earlier, the last 1.5 week made me go from -5% to 10% plus.
Yeah, that's a wild. That's a wild
Very
swing.
happy with that.
That's why I try not to beat myself up over a 2% loss week, because I'm like, yeah, that's in the grand scheme, it's like nothing, But I'm trying to be stay conservative, and not overdo anything stupidly. Because like I said too, I have been taking larger position sizes. So and I go back and forth on that too. Do I want to go back down? I could go down to 30 or 25%. So I'm keeping that in mind, but it's always in context. You know, if I'm thinking about position sizes, it's always what my stop loss is, because it's always in context to that. Because if you know whatever percent you're comfortable with putting your stop loss at, kind of determines your position size, or really heavily should influence it, regardless of if you actually go with that or not.
I have a limit in my head. Like I don't want to risk, you know, maximum. And I rarely do this, but 0.5% of total portfolio.
Yeah, and I mean that's perfectly conservative. I think most major traders probably are in that realm. I've actually
I aim for like 0.3 to 45. You know.
Yeah. And mine's around 1%, so it is higher for me. But I've also I feel like when I do the math, taking on that level of risk is more profitable for me.
Yeah.
So it just makes sense. And you know, and like I said, that's probably why I will have weeks like I had where I'm gonna get hit a little bit harder. But then at the same time too, there's a ton of weeks it worked fine. It didn't matter at all. So it's just one of those things I'll have to work with.
Yeah.
And most of the time, I'm not even concerned about the stop, because once I become profitable in almost any trade now, it moves right up to break even essentially. So it's rare that it happens with me trying to go into these heavy momentum names, you know?
Yeah. I think I asked some similar thing before, Dane, but how do you some like, let's say if you pull up ONDS, the ONDS chart.
Yeah.
And on earnings, which was, you know, those two high volume bars at the bottom.
Yep.
The first one was on earnings and it gapped up, and then it pulled back into a ton of the moving averages. And I took it, I got a very good entry there. And then it just straight after I took it, it came back, it came off, and I think I gained, I don't remember. Let's say I got 15%, 13 to 15% that day. And then, of course, I did end up getting stopped on it for I took some off, and you just stick with it for the full day, or are you very strict on that still?
No, and these are things I measure. That's why I'm saying, you know, it's not like I'm not really, I'm strict in the sense that what I'm doing right now, I'm sticking to my rules, but I'm not strict in the sense that I'm not willing to change them. So when you say, hey, do you ever consider holding to the end of the day? I always measure what did it do at the end of the day. That's one of the things I'll measure. So if at some point I'm measuring it and it would make sense in most of the cases to hold till end of the day, that may be what I do. So it just depends. I measure if you hold and sell at this percent, if you let it go down this percent, and then at the end of the day, if you had let it go down, you know, there's all these little things I'm focusing on to try and figure out what I could squeeze out for the maximum potential on these trades. So, and maybe I'll find that when I start looking back, if I had a 3-day holding pattern on most of these trades, because a lot of the names I'm in are great names. They move really strong. I'm getting in them on great days when they're up. I may find that it doesn't take long before swing trading all of a sudden becomes, you know, I would have been more profitable swing trading these. So,
or if you trim like 75% of the position straight away, like you have been doing, and you just keep the remaining one.
Right. So there's all kinds of little nuances that you need to be measuring. When I pull up I do it in Excel, but when I pull it up, there's probably 30 cells that or columns that I'm measuring things in. So it's relatively in depth for a lot of different things. And like I said, every day I'll probably delete 1 or 2 of those columns and put something else in place, because I'm noticing that after, you know, 60 trades, 70 trades, this really, I don't see any correlation, or this is not, like, if I see something, like, let's say on average, I see something would have worked and gained me 1% a day this entire time. Let's just say that's like what my measurement was. If I see something and it's only giving me 0.5% every day for 2 months now, well, I'm going to probably just start to get rid of it, because it's not going to work out. That's not the best way to do it. you know, I'm not saying I'm doing it quite like that because, you know, I do like to let things run for a little bit because just because something's down doesn't mean that it might not find hot periods. And like I said, I also want to think about that too because I always am looking at the general market context. And, you know, when I look at a downtrend, what performed the best in that period? If I look at an uptrend, if I look at a sideways trend, what performed best? And I think that's kind of what, you know, the good traders talk about is you don't want to just have a very, very strict system that only works, you know, because if you allow yourself to have some kind of variability to work with what the markets are giving you, you're going to outperform as versus just having one strict style that you never change. So it's just taking all that into consideration when I'm trying to build what I'm doing. And also too, like slowly as you see this things more and more and you start to internalize the ideas, when you're going to make a trade decision, all that stuff you don't have to think about because you've it's kind of like internal. Like I'm like, oh, you know what? I see it doing this. I bet it's going to do this based on everything I know. And if you've seen it happen 100 times, there's a really good chance it's going to happen again. You know, so you just have to kind of, you know, you just have to do it. You have to put in the reps. I mean, it's no different than anything else that you want to get good at. So,
Yeah. Agreed.
it's a long-winded way of saying yes.
Yeah.
But hey, just so you know, I have to go. Like, I have to strictly be off at 8. So I don't know if there's anything you want to go over, just because I got to take the family somewhere. So
Yeah, no, I've taken. We have talked about everything that I wanted. I did my scans on Friday after the close, so I have posted my Monday watch list already on the Discord. So if anyone wants to see what I want to look at on Monday, it's already in the Discord.
yeah, and just to show you guys, because I didn't really go over any of my trades. I tried doing quick this week. I think I took it. I'm pretty sure this was on the 26th, which was Tuesday. And I just got stopped on it. It was up and down, but it gapped up, and I thought it had pulled back a little bit, and I tried taking it, and then it just pulled back even more. So just and like I said, it's not like these are bad charts or anything like that. It's not like I don't feel like I'm in the right spot. It just, you know, with the way things I'm doing, it's just not, sometimes it's not going to work. And to be honest, it broke back down from that point, so it was fine. It wouldn't have worked out in the long run. So possibly just the wrong name at the wrong time. Then same thing. I took GSIT on Wednesday. Same thing. Opened up decently and just had a rough day. So once again, just bad timing. And I think it had pulled back to this 20, and it looked like it was going to go, and I was thinking it was going to break through this range here when I looked at the daily. So that one didn't work. I did do AmpX on Thursday, and this one I didn't play it great. It could have been better. So if we go back to Thursday, which, hang on, let me just zoom in on the Thursday. What was that? The 28th. I captured like a small amount. I should have went on the 5. I honestly don't remember exactly where I took it. I think maybe in this period, and I got some of this move, but I could have gotten more. I got stopped out somewhere. Maybe I took it too late in this move, and then when it pulled back, I got stopped. I can't remember exactly, but it wasn't a great trade. It was barely break even or just above. Maybe this is the chart that I thought was at the end of the day. I saw it drop. It must have been AmpX. Remember how you were saying that Nvidia dropped at the end of the day?
Yeah,
I think it was AmpX on Thursday. This is what I was thinking of. I saw it drop, like 5%. It was just random that it had such a strong day and then such a big sell-off at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Which I think if you look at the after hours, no, it did pull. It kept going back down. All right, either way. And then I took Cure on Friday, which had gapped up. And same thing, if you look at the somewhere in here, I mean, it was just too volatile at the start. So this was a positive gain for me. This is what kind of got me something back. So it's not like this didn't work. But there's just a few I went into this week just weren't what I had seen in the past. So I'm not like angry at my choices or anything like that. It just didn't happen to work.
Yeah.
And like I said, most weeks I usually see like 2 or 3 of the stocks I go in are easy winners. Just
Yeah.
seems
No.
almost like too easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Exactly. No,
and
but
then
I think like to pull it back then to having the rules and trade on the rules. Um, I think there's a big difference of making mistakes and trading by your rules and miss out on things or stuff like that, because if you keep trading according to your rules and it doesn't work, you obviously have to change something.
right.
But if your
Well,
rules
yeah, and that's
usually work and you miss out on some stuff, I think it's still a good thing.
yeah, and if you're not profitable, I mean, and you go back and you're doing your measurements, there you somewhere in there you should realize there's certain ways you could have done things to find success. And if you slowly just keep changing and altering those variables, you should eventually find an edge. Like
It is so easy though to say like if you're not profitable and you don't want to go back and see what you're doing wrong, you will not survive,
yeah, like that's
right?
you gotta do the work.
Yeah,
And no one's going to be able to offer you. I mean, we can offer advice, or like I can say what I do and you can get ideas, and that's what like all these great traders are doing. They won't. No one's going to tell you exactly what they do because that would ruin their edge. So
yeah,
people are going to give you hints and tips and say like, this is how I got to this point. I think that's the most helpful thing. I think that's the point of this whole stream. I mean, Johnny and I have showed you that we've done a million different things here, trying all these different things, looking for an edge.
yeah,
And now it's been, I don't even know, over 2 years, whatever this has been.
yeah,
So it's not easy and it takes a long time, but the goal is to keep focused and
yeah,
wait. It will happen. It's gonna take time. You can't
yeah.
expect to be great at something in such a short amount of period.
No, and I guess you can also say that um, you can try to look where you're making mistakes and do like a honest effort in doing that, and still you may never figure it out because like statistically a lot of people are not succeeding in the markets, right?
Right. Well, and
So
I mean,
it doesn't mean that automatically just because you go and look at the numbers and stuff like that you will figure it out. You need some some successful traders, they talk a lot about their mentors, and they were lucky to find the right mentors early on and so on. You need a guidance. So even if you do the work and you put in a lot of effort, you can still fail. That's not a secret. So it is
right.
hard.
Yeah, and I'm talking. I mean, this is over probably a 3-year time period, but I'm up 111%, which I
Yeah.
mean, this is that's compounded per year too, so that's not like my average per se. Like you can't just divide that by 3.
Yeah.
But on average, I'm in the 20s, which isn't anything crazy. I don't even know what the S&P's done during that time period, so I'm probably in line with that, but and maybe slightly outperformed. I would have to check. But like I said, I'm not losing. Like that's one thing. Like and don't get me wrong, I went through periods where I lost a ton.
Yeah.
So yeah, how long have we been doing this stream?
We started in December
Has it been 4 years? 3 years? I don't even know how long it's been.
I think 3 this year.
Yeah.
And we haven't made it or anything like that, but the point also with the stream is to hopefully in the end you can say that we have, but the point with the stream is to show the process from start to finish, let's say call it finish, and everything. We have tried to be at least so as transparent as we can be.
Right.
And if we have left something out, so far, it's not on purpose. It's probably just because we don't think about something that we unconsciously do or something like that, you know.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it's at the point now, and I mean, it's always, I guess it's always been there. Like, you know, I can't tell you exactly what I'm doing, but I will try. I mean, we're always trying to tell you exactly what we are. The only other thing I'm not going to post is like my actual returns,
Yeah.
which no one cares about anyways, because it's not like I'm super profitable yet. And maybe someday, if this really works out, and someone, you know, wants to see it just to verify it, I'll happily do that. But
Because at the end of the day, that is the only thing that matters in terms of should you listen to a person or not in this
yeah,
game. You know?
I will say there's definitely a point to being legitimized,
Yeah.
which, you know, I hesitate because then I'm like, do I want to show someone what I'm doing? Like, how much of my, like, I don't know, like if it was like Jack Schwager, because I'm a market wizard at that point, and he wants to verify me, I probably won't care. I'll probably like, sure, look at whatever you want. But you know, it's like the average person. I'm not going to show you all my trades, but like I could show you start and finish account, and something like that.
And we have we have a resource tab in the Discord where that is, as far as I know, Dane, that is all the resources that we have used.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we post everything on here. I post all my trades. I show you what I'm taking each, you know, and like I said, I'm not doing a ton of trades right now, so it's easy just to kind of review them quick to show you what I did. But you know, you can only do so much. I mean, you know, and I don't even know how helpful it is to some people. I mean, I know at this point we're still a small stream, so it's not like anyone really cares. So
we have 2 people watching right now, and
sure.
Probably you and me.
Perfect.
Yeah. And sorry, of course, Kevin, you were in the chat. I know I was just referring to the stats that we have in the dashboard here now.
Yeah.
So Kevin, you have been, of course, our guest today. Really appreciate it, by the way.
Yeah, we do appreciate anybody who makes it in. You know, a few times, and I know the streaming time is terrible. It sucks that we have to do it at this time, but it works for us, and honestly, I'm happy to know that someone could watch this later, because it's not like we're doing live anything, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when you watch it.
No.
But I know if we did this, because I remember when we were doing the streams on like the weeknights, when I did this on like a Wednesday night or something, or a Thursday or whatever we were doing, I don't even remember now. Sometimes I'd have 6-7 people in there talking. So I think it's also just nature of the timing of this, which is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, we live. Our time difference is 6 and 7 hours throughout the year. I think it is, right, or is it 6 and 5? Yeah, one of them. So it's not, and we have busy lives also in the weekend, right? So it's not like this is. We have thought about it for a long time, and we have tried sometimes to change the time, and it gets quickly complicated. So we've just landed on this for now, and good to see some people coming in, and I think Dane, the reason that Value is not in the chat is because he's in China.
Yeah, that's for sure. He's definitely he's always in the field.
He's on a mission. So.
Well, and speaking of Value, we joked around sometimes doing a stream with Value, but like, what's his time difference?
It would be 9 hours from me again, I think. So it would be a complete nightmare.
Yeah, because he's got to be almost exactly 12 hours for me.
But at the same time, if we pull that off, we have covered the world.
True. Worldwide.
Yeah.
We're gonna start saying it at the beginning of the streams.
We should have Pitbull on then.
Yeah, worldwide.
Yeah.
We gotta get a sound tool where we can just, you know, put stupid sound bites in.
Oh yeah, true.
Just blare air horns the entire stream.
You remember I made a video of Justin, and I never got to use them, but
yeah, we did. We do. Yeah, we have all kinds of dumb stock stuff we've never really put on.
We have some good videos that we plan to use for the stream that we never got to use, but they are cool. Maybe we should think about that again.
Yeah, we gotta look back into that for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think I'm gonna call it there. All right.
Yeah, 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks then, until the World Cup starts.
I know, it's coming up quick.
very excited, and Norway is going to meet Iraq in the first game, which we have to win because we are in the group with Senegal and France.
Right,
It's
right.
going to be tough.
Yeah. If we're gonna talk sports for a second, go Knicks in the finals, baby.
Yeah.
First time
Nice.
since '99.
Good, good.
So
A lot of good things, Dan.
yeah, right. So it's exciting, man. They look really good.
Yeah.
That last game, we could have had a highlight reel for almost every player on the team. It's just everyone was just looked nasty. So not that the Spurs aren't going to be a tough team. You know, if they can take on the Thunder, it's going to be a tough series. But I'm excited. I think they got a real shot this year.
And those, it's like best out of 7,
Yeah, it's a 7-game series.
and you have not started on game 1.
No, it'll start on Wednesday. Wednesday night it starts.
Okay.
The Spurs just beat the Thunder last night, so it's
right.
they'll have a few days. But the Knicks, they swept them, so they moved on early. They've had a few days off now, which I hope doesn't change anything. I hope when they come back that they click just as well as they were.
How many days are between the games then when you start on game 1?
It's usually every other night. It's usually
Okay.
they play, get day off, and then they play. And typical.
And this is basketball, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry if I didn't make that clear. Yeah, the NBA.
But
My Sabres
what is
Sabres
that?
lost. They're out of hockey. So Stanley Cup starts now, which is Vegas and Canes.
Yeah.
And then,
Is it Vegas?
yeah, Vegas Knights.
Oh.
Which ever since, so they haven't been a team only for so many years now. They're a newer team, a newer franchise. But ever since they came into the league, they put together a great team, and they almost every year they have a shot. It's been crazy. They came out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. Because I am not following. I used to, as a kid, I was collecting cards, and I have like caps with Florida Panthers. You will love this, Kevin. You're from Florida, right? That was my favorite team, Florida Panthers.
Yeah.
Purely because of the logo.
Yeah, no, I mean, especially if you're not from, like, it's different. Like, it's funny, too, because, some people are like, if you're from a certain area, they're like, how are you not a fan of the team? And it's like, well, there's a bunch of people who don't even live in our country who are fans of teams. Like, they can pick whatever team they want. But, but me, like I'm Buffalo first, so like for me, Sabres. Like I'm not a Rangers fan, I'm a Sabres fan. But since I don't have a baseball team or I don't have a basketball team, like immediately New York just becomes like the choice. So
yeah.
But yeah, all right, I gotta go.
Yeah.
It's talking nonsense here. All right, guys,
Totally.
have a good week. Good luck, everybody.
Bye.